Good evening, everyone. I'd like to call to order the Town of Monroe Board of Finance regular meeting. Today is Thursday, May 15th, 2025, and the time is 6:05 p.m. The meeting will be recorded and made available on the town's website in accordance with state law. So let's take attendance. Catherine Stoffer.
Present.
Steve Kirsch.
Present.
Nick Sentimentes.
Present.
Sam Spino.
Present.
Mark O'Donnell.
Present.
Terry Rooney.
Present.
Ron Banowski.
Present.
Heidi Mead.
Present.
Deb Heim.
Present.
Frank Duchess.
Here.
We don't have Joe Copsa, but we also have our Monroe Fire Chief, right?
Stephanie.
Pardon. Darren Tyson, thank you. Okay. Review of the minutes. Is there a motion to accept the meeting minutes as presented?
Steve
So
Kirsch,
moved.
I move to approve the special budget workshop meeting minutes of April 15th, 2025, and the meeting minutes and voting record for April 17th, 2025.
I will
Second,
second.
any discussion? Hearing none. All right, we have to do roll call. Catherine Stoffer?
Present.
No,
Oh, sorry. I'm
Yeah.
so sorry. I.
thank you. Steve Kirsch?
Aye.
Nick Sentimentes?
Aye.
Samantha Spino?
Hi.
Mark O'Donnell?
Aye.
All right. Passes unanimous. Okay. I need a motion to amend the agenda for First Selectman Rooney to make some comments.
You want to do it? Steve Kirsch, I move to amend the agenda to add a first selectman's comments as, where?
Number 3.
As number 3?
Yeah.
Okay. Or is three, A, B, C, D, E, F. 3F,
We could do that. Or can we do that?
yeah.
Do
I
you
think,
want it?
we want them to speak before the financial reports. I would almost say just do it as two,
2A.
Okay.
2A.
All right, let's do that. Do I have a second?
Second.
All right, any discussion? All right, Catherine Stoffer,
I.
Steve Kirsch,
Aye.
Nick,
Aye.
Sam,
I.
Mark.
Aye.
Okay. Passes. All right, so let's
Take it
move
away.
on. There you go.
On my first selectman report, or do you want me to talk about this?
First Selectman report.
First selectman report, well, congratulations. We passed the budget first time. I think that's something to be happy about. We know that this is still a very challenging year for folks with the reval. I know July is gonna be a little difficult, but that's a state mandated thing. We had no choice but to go through that. However, I do want to thank people on this board for getting the information out. I saw a lot of talk on social media and things of that nature, and as much as social media is tough, it seemed to be useful and people appreciated it. Mr. Kerr, Sam, Becky, I saw many of you talking on there, and I think it helped. I think it helped people understand. I think it helped people go through the process, and I think it assisted in this budget passing. So the one thing that I do want to mention, and I have to give it to Steve Kirsch, the historian on this board, talking about that this was the first budget that passed after a referendum in the history of Monroe. Is that true, Mr.
After
Kirsch?
reval. in the
After
first-
reval, I'm
first
sorry,
referendum.
wrong terms, after
Yeah.
reval. That is a fact.
Yep.
That is a fact. So very difficult budget. This was, probably one of the toughest budgets I've seen in 12 years. So I think we should all be very proud of the work. I know not everybody's gonna be happy. Not everybody got what they wanted, but it was very difficult all across the board. So congratulations to this group. And thank you to the citizens for supporting it. That being said, the words, can I bring it? You want me to talk about this now?
Yeah.
For the
Mhm.
fields?
Mhm.
So it was brought to my attention that there's significant problems with the pickleball courts. I guess the pickleball courts had cracked. People had pulled some of the finishes off and kind of have created a situation where water can get under it. It's just getting worse and worse. Missy Oros has done her due diligence as far as reaching out to contractors. Several contractors came out, the majority of them, I think she called 4. I believe, did not want to touch it. However, she did get one bid from RS Site and Sports, a proposal to do it. On the proposal is to repair the preparation, low spot repair, application of acrylic surfaces, acrylic color coatings, and line striping. The ask is $42,500. She believes that she has account Ron. We spoke about the account that maybe we could pull that from. So I would just ask that this board approve pending in an approval from the Parks and Rec Commission, because I believe she'll call John Stone. We'll be calling a special meeting to have the Park and Recs Commission approve that. But I was wondering if I can get a conditional approval from this board pending the approval from Parks and Rec. As we know, pickleball in this town is a big thing, and our seniors enjoy it, our kids enjoy it, and now that the weather's changing, I'd like to get this done as soon as possible. So that's my request to this board, and that's my report for today. Thank you.
Did Missy get confirmation like they can do it
They can do it, yes.
like within the next few weeks or so?
I don't know what the time frame is, but I'd
But
like
they
to
could do
get it,
in the summer?
approved sooner than later. I know that she's gonna ask John Stone for a special meeting so the board can approve it, because I think they meet a couple of weeks from now, so she's gonna try to facilitate that.
Okay.
Can I ask a question?
Sure.
Why did none of the other companies want to touch it?
So for whatever reason, the original company that did it, which is actually this company, I guess they have a kind of a code that the other company did it. I don't know if that's something in that industry, but they didn't wanna do it.
Okay.
How long ago was it done?
I don't know the exact time. I think like 4 years ago, if I can remember, if I can
So,
recollect.
yeah,
I was still on Parks
Yeah,
and
the
Rec.
tennis courts were done 15, 16, somewhere in that time frame. The pickleball courts were, I think, done over the original tennis courts.
They were,
Yes,
they
And,
were.
and that was done I'm gonna say sometime in the last it was when the pickleball really took off, so I'm gonna
Yeah.
say 5 to 7
So any
years.
type
Yeah, I
of
was gonna say, it
warranty
was
is out,
pre-COVID.
right?
Yeah.
They don't warrant.
Yeah, it was somewhere
Wasn't it
around
somewhere in
COVID
that?
or just pre-COVID.
Yeah, I think.
Yeah.
The moisture.
It,
and the-
it was a
moisture
while
and
before
frost in
COVID.
there.
I was
Yes.
on Parks
Did a
and
number
Rec.
on
It was
and
before.
We did it then. I don't remember the exact year, but
So it's already 5.
Yeah.
So it's more than 5.
And they don't warranty their work? Or we're past it?
I would imagine.
From what I understand, we're past the warranty,
Okay.
but
So,
they're doing
are
it at a significantly discounted rate, from what I understand. I don't know what the original cost was, but this is under 50,000, so it doesn't require to go out to bid. And the other companies denied it.
Are we concerned that they didn't do good work the first time around and they're going to kind of not be up to snuff with the kind of quality that we're looking for?
Yeah, Sam, I understand that's a concern, but when other companies don't want to do it, and we
Mhm.
have a pickleball court that the seniors are not using and complaining about, we can certainly, search for another company to do it. That could take several weeks, and then we're getting into the good weather, so that's your call. For me, I'm just happy to have somebody do it. If we can't get another company to touch it, I certainly understand, but if we can't get another company to touch it, I don't know what to tell you.
That's understandable. I was just bringing it up.
No, and I get it, and that was my argument too. I had that conversation with Missy, but nobody wants to touch it. That's just, this came to my desk today. I wasn't considering bringing this up to the board. I was gonna wait for, P and Z our Parks and Rec to approve it, but I figured I can get a conditional approval maybe from this board ahead of time.
Yeah.
I think one thing we could do, and I'm sure you will, is address with them why they think it is peeling now. Is it something with the under limit or?
So from what I understand, which is kind of what I explained in the beginning, Ron, is that there were some cracks in it, and I don't know if this is common or uncommon. I don't know, I'm not an expert in this. But I guess what happened is once they saw the cracks, people started peeling it, and then once they peeled it, more water got underneath, and that's what created the problem where it is right now.
So do they remove the existing surface? And
I would
and
imagine,
redo it?
I don't believe they can go over that. I would believe they would
Yeah.
strip it.
Like,
That's what I would think.
like you would strip a tennis court.
So, okay, so here, repair preparation, power wash, buff and scrape court where needed. To assure adhesion of new coatings.
It doesn't seem like they're gonna be removing. It'll be like kind of sealing around where they have issues.
Yeah, I guess
Yeah.
scrape where it needs, but.
Like the hood on your
And Sam,
car.
also, from my standpoint, that should be, Parks and Rec should vet that. I'm not looking to vet the project right now. I'm just looking to say if Parks and Rec vets that, will we approve the dollars? So we just have a conditional approval ahead of time. That's what I'm looking for. I'm sure the questions that we have in this room are all the questions that Parks and Rec are gonna
Yeah.
ask. And that would technically be their purview.
Yeah, because if they had done this work up front, they would have come to us with their pre-approval and we would have just.
Exactly.
Like
That's
we're
my
gonna do on
point.
something else tonight. Yeah, I mean, given that it's a problem and given that it's the same company, I mean, I can't force Park and Rec to do more, some level of due diligence, but other than to express that I hope they do a lot of due diligence, right? We can really only say if they think they've got a vendor that can do a quality job, we're gonna let them take the money from their fund.
Once again, too, Missy did bid it out and did look for other companies
Yeah.
and this is just where we are. And if we continue, and once again, this is a Parks and Rec function, but if we delay it longer, we get into the season and now we have a lot of very angry seniors on our hands.
Well, I think also if you delay it, there's a chance for it to erode further.
Oh, it'll get worse, especially if it starts getting cold.
So what I'd like to do is make a motion to amend the agenda to add new business item E. Request to allocate funds for pickleball court repair.
Do I have a second?
I'll
I'll
say.
second that.
Sam, just to satisfy you, what I will do as well is I will have Missy and I'll talk to John Stone to ask all those questions that you have in concern. And I'll email you and let you know what the findings are, okay?
And that sounds great. I mean, I think, like you said, they're likely to do the same due diligence. It's just, it's good to have some extra feedback and so they have, a nice full list of things to talk to the vendor about.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, and if you have any concerns, Sam, if you have a question, certainly put it in an email, send it to me and I'll send it to that board so they can ask the questions.
I
I don't have a
appreciate
problem
that.
with doing that for you as well, okay?
Thank you.
You're welcome, thank you.
Okay, we have to do roll call for that added item. So Catherine Stoffer,
Aye.
Steve Kirsch,
Aye.
Nick,
Aye.
Sam,
Aye.
Mark.
I,
Okay, make sure that passes. So, all right, so anything else? You're all set, Terry, right? That was
Nope,
everything?
that's all I got, thank
Okay.
you.
So moving on to the review of the financial reports, the year-to-date general fund budget report. Is there anything else you want to say?
There's nothing I really, as far as spiking anything out.
Kind of nearing the end.
Yeah, I mean, so. Nothing new from prior months. I don't know if anyone's got any specific questions that they'd like to entertain. The one thing I will mention, Heidi did review a bunch of the POs for electricity and actually reviewed some of them. Because she thought they were over encumbered after. Because we had just increased them and as things were, as we were getting closer and seeing some actuals closer to the end of the year, she did reduce them a little bit.
Okay,
Reduce the encumbrances. Oh,
We are still expecting them to go over, but. not as much.
any questions from anybody?
not on the town.
No.
All right, the year-to-date general fund budget report for this Monroe Public Schools.
Steve? You both have something?
No, I mean, unless.
Oh, you said not on the town, I figured you were lining something up.
No, the board's next. I wondered if you wanted to
Yeah.
say, I mean, I heard you at the last meeting.
Yeah, so, again, I think that right now, special ed is looking like it's, it's gonna be close as far as whether it goes over. Overall, the board's budget is tracking okay. I do expect to be able to pay some of the retirement payments, which would stuff within the budget, because that's gonna alleviate some of the stress off of next year's budget. Other than that, there is an electricity's, as I had stated last month, is running,
What's
Oh,
driving
gotcha.
special ed over? Because we were going very smoothly with.
well, it's tracking about, I'm thinking it's about break even, break
Oh, yeah,
even.
okay.
The problem is, she's got she's getting new students
Continuously.
continuously. And I know one of those new student,
Two of
this
them.
past month, two of them
Two of
are high
them.
cost.
Yeah.
So they come in with an IEP, that
Yeah.
IEP is getting,
Okay.
And every student we get sets a new record for Monroe.
Right. Okay.
And now they're about, she said 19%.
Is special ed?
yes, you're looking at almost 1 in 5 students are identified.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I think that's probably the scary takeaway.
Any other questions for the Board of Ed report?
No.
Now we have the quarterly fire department reports.
No questions from me.
Any questions on the fire department reports?
No questions.
Here.
Okay.
No,
All right, monthly report of the treasurer.
We rolled over $500,000 into one-year treasuries at about 4.1%. Current interest revenue is at $2,514,000 against our budget of 2.5. So we know we will be over. We've got 2 months to go. My guess is we'll be somewhere between $200,000 and $300,000 over in terms of interest revenue. The STIP rate dropped for the first time below 4.4. It stands at 4.37 right now. And just to put in perspective, we get the STIF rate on what we have in the state STIF account, which is about $13 million, and on the general fund budget, which is in the Newtown Savings Bank. And then we have another 14 million with Janney. It looks like interest rates will go down, but slowly.
So nothing changed from the model we accepted a
No,
couple of weeks ago?
no,
Yeah, no.
Right, just one question I have for you, just
yeah.
as we near the end of the fiscal year, do we look like we're gonna meet our goal or are we gonna exceed our goal in investments?
Oh, no,
Exceed.
you're gonna exceed it by 2 to 3 million. 2 to 300,000, excuse me.
Yeah.
Wow, you were making
Yeah.
me very happy.
No, we're
We budgeted
we're already
2.5.
over. We're at, our budget was 2.5, we're
Yeah.
at 2.5 and change right now.
2514.
Yeah,
Great job, Frank, great job.
Yeah. Interest rates have been helpful.
Mhm.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you, Frank. All right, monthly report of the tax collector.
Okay, right, bringing the time, we hit budget, so that, we hit budget. Actually, overall, for what we budgeted, we're like 300,000 over. Some of the areas are low, some are high, so we are above what we budgeted, which is good. And we still have 2 months to go, so maybe we'll be a couple 100,000.
So the question a couple
over
of us,
half a million over.
yeah, so the question that a couple of us were talking about before the meeting, do you have an explanation of the motor vehicle?
The motor vehicle,
Yeah.
no, people just don't wanna pay.
Is it more their second payment?
It's the second payment and what we, the collectible you gotta understand the collectible balance
Mhm.
and what you budgeted was very, very, very close within $50,000. And that is the hardest tax to collect. So motor vehicle and personal property are the two highest ones to collect. Because right now, as I don't know if you saw Bill Vitar's thing, there's a 3-year registration and a lot of people don't pay until they have to register. So a lot of people put that off until they have to register. So that's why we send them to collection earlier, because to push them, a lot of people, that doesn't faze them. We are in a debt society, and being in debt doesn't, before the older generation didn't like bad credit reports, now everybody's in so much debt that it doesn't faze people anymore. When we go to court, they're like, another bill. Or they don't show up at all.
So do we know how many people, what percentage are on what kind of registration cycle? I mean, how many people are gonna hit that wall, or when are they gonna hit that
Oh, I
wall?
think that would be impossible.
Oh, yeah, you'd have
Yeah.
to, everybody's, yeah.
Yeah,
Everybody
because if they
registers,
sell a
register
car,
Card this month, then everybody, and then you go 3 years from the day you register, so everybody is on a different cycle.
Yeah, I mean, it's all in the computer, just ask the right logic and,
And some
okay,
people. would
I just wondered whether we looked at it.
Sooner because they have their cards due at different times, so it's not by it goes by name, so it's like if you have 3 different cards and they're all due differently, they'll hit sooner. But a lot of the ones we see is like when they come to town and they register all their cars at once.
Mhm.
And then we have a large population that came in that are not used to motor vehicle bills. That come from states that don't have motor vehicles. Connecticut has motor vehicles, a lot of states don't have motor vehicles, so they don't understand the process either. Until they can't register a car.
All right, yeah. Okay,
okay.
Unfortunately, that's right now I'm seeing the motor vehicle and the. But we're budgeting very close with the motor vehicle.
Mhm.
yeah, no, it was just a question of what the percentage was, especially compared to the others, that's.
Personal property businesses going in and out all the time are going up. So that is really the hardest tax to collect. There is no hold on this at all. Except bringing them to court.
Okay.
Okay, thank you.
Any questions for Deb, Catherine, or Sam? Nope. And next. Keep forgetting me. Okay.
Oh, Catherine's muted again.
I don't have any questions.
Okay. There's no.
I am here. I don't have any questions.
I'm good too.
Okay, thank you. For public participation, I don't see anyone on the phone and I don't see any extras in the room, so we'll move on. So new business. So the first item is to fix our mill rate for the 2025-2026 fiscal year.
Madam Chair, Steve Kirsch, new business item 5A. I have a resolution resolved in accordance with the Monroe Town budget that was approved via referendum on May 6, 2025, and pursuant to Chapter 8, Section 6 of the Town Charter. The Board of Finance does hereby set the FY 2025-2026 real estate, personal property, and motor vehicle tax rate at 28.67 mils.
And a second,
I'll second.
any discussion? Hearing none, Catherine Stoffer,
Aye.
Steve Kirsch,
Aye.
Nick Santimentos,
Aye.
Sam Spino,
Aye.
Mark O'Donnell.
Aye.
All right, that passes unanimous. The next one is for approval for the Wolf Park Field.
Madam Chair, I have a resolution for item 5, new business, item 5B. Resolve pursuant to the Wolf Park Field Usage Assessment Donation Policy, the Board of Finance does hereby approve the expenditure of $5,600 from the Wolf Park Field Use Assessment Fund, and that the funds be used for the rental and use of an aquarium water rig to establish grass on the new field, as requested by Missy Oros, Director of Parks and Recreation, in her letter of May 6, 2025. This expenditure was approved by the Parks and Rec Commission at their May 5, 2025 meeting.
Have a second?
Second.
Any discussion? I'll just say I visited the field over the weekend and the grass is growing. So the
So-
water will help.
So obviously, you know, the expenditures are Board of Finance and what's going on in the fields is Parks and Rec, but we'll have a conversation about that. So yeah, so we did tests on compaction. So we did compaction tests to make sure that the soil was loose enough to grow grass. It came back that it was almost as hard as concrete. And so that therefore it was very hard to get grass to grow. So they aerated it, they cut it, sliced it, spliced it, and then planted new grass.
Yeah.
They had the soil tested to see what was needed as far as minerals were concerned. They added those minerals that were needed to grow grass, and we're seeing finally a very nice result. So hopefully, and also we've seen great weather. It's been cool, it's been cloudy, it's been, you know, a light rain, so grass loves that environment. So we've had a really good grow season. Hopefully fall's the same way and we don't have many obstructions. The one thing that in regards to this wheel and something that I'm looking into is because we do not have water on that field and we're renting this, I made a request to Bill Phillips just to look into what it would cost to do a well out there. Cause if we could put a well to water it, it may save a lot of costs on rentals. So, there was an original concept of bringing water to the field. But I think drilling a well that would support the field might be a good idea or a less expensive idea because you'd have to run conduit, you'd have to run a water line. It's very involved. Depending on what they run into, you know, Monroe's full of lead, you try to run the water line, next thing you know, you're blasting to get it through, who the heck knows? So that's just a concept. I wanted to see what it'll cost in comparison to the rental. So I'll be talking to you guys about that if that comes along.
Okay. Perfect. All right, Catherine Stoffer.
Aye.
Okay.
Yes.
Steve Kirsch,
Aye.
Nick Sentimentis,
Aye.
Sam Spino,
Aye.
Mark O'Donnell.
Aye.
All right, that passes unanimous. All right, the next one is to appropriate $14,000 for repairs for the Stepney Fire Department's chief's vehicle. And do you want to speak to that?
Yes, exactly.
Oh, wait, hold on one second.
Motion.
You want to
Yeah,
make a
I'll put
motion first? Yeah, thank you.
Madam Chair, Steve Kirsch, new business item 5C, motion resolved pursuant to the Board of Finance Capital Reserve Fund Policy. The Board of Finance does hereby approve the expenditure of $14,000 from the Capital Reserve Fund Emergency Repairs for repairs to the Stepney Fire Department Deputy Chief's vehicle.
Have a second?
I'll second.
Thank you. Discussion, Darren. I'm sorry about that.
No problem. So we have a 2020 Tahoe that's 90,000 miles on it. It has a blown motor. It will cost approximately $14,000 to replace what's known as a long block. It's a fully dressed motor. The reason that I'm approaching the board and asking for this outside of our operating budget is I currently have an operating budget of $36,000 for repair and maintenance of fire apparatus. I have 4 fire trucks, 2 chief's vehicles, a utility truck and a UTV that I have to maintain for 12 months with $36,000. And just to give you an idea of the cost of repairs, truck 100, which has been a hot topic recently because it's the only ladder truck covering the entire town, is going to need new fuel injectors in the coming months. The estimate of repair is north of $10,000 just for fuel injectors on one truck. So it'd be a great hardship to our budget to have to replace the motor out of our current operating budget. That's why I approached Ron and asked how the town could possibly help in this fixing this current situation.
Okay.
I just have one question. Did they put that on any kind of at a dealership to see if there's anything else wrong besides the motor? Is there anything else that needs to be replaced on there?
It's, since I became chief, I did a deep dive into the maintenance of all the vehicles, and I've had this. Recently, this vehicle has had, within the last 60 days, 4 new tires, a starter motor, front and rear brakes, and a full service. So I know it's in good mechanic, and I drove this vehicle for 1 year prior to this. I felt a hesitation in the motor. I knew something was brewing. Other than that, it's in good condition.
Okay.
Thank you.
It's, you know, 90,000 miles doesn't sound like a lot of miles for a Chevy Tahoe. Some people have 200,000 miles on their vehicles. But these
He looked
vehicles,
at me because he knows I have one with 200,000 miles.
How would I
That's
know?
what he just did.
How would I
You
know
knew
that?
that. You
How would I know that?
You know
how
that.
would I know?
I saw that look, Darren.
So, you know, Terry has more than 200,000 miles on it. And, you know, they should last that long, but the way a vehicle is used in the fire service is very different to, you know, going to a regular store.
Right.
Run hard, have to
Idle.
brake hard.
Idle a lot.
They
Idle a
spend
lot.
many hours idling. You know, when you get to a store or you get home, you turn it off. We don't turn them off. They stay on scene for hours. If we didn't leave them running, you know, the batteries would die from the emergency lights that are running the whole time. So it's not just mileage is a measure of our vehicles, it's time.
Time.
And believe it or not, like idle time on the 90,000 vehicles almost equivalent to 180.
It is.
Yeah.
We're not worried
Yeah.
about that.
Yeah, so it served its purpose.
Ron, I'm curious, how much money do we have in this emergency repairs fund?
Slightly more than 100,000.
Would you agree, Darren, it's worth putting the money into? I think it's a worthy vehicle to put the money into.
It's a
We can
worthy
use it.
vehicle to put the money into it because its current value is really zero because it's got a blow motor.
Right.
If we put a motor in it, we make it functioning again, we'll at least get our money back. It's gonna be worth at least 20 grand.
Right.
So we'll get more than our money back.
We can also use it in other departments that have less impact on a motor
Exactly.
too.
Well, it's gonna be a new vehicle once you get a new engine.
To a degree, yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
Well, with
the
everything else.
drivetrain though, but then
Yeah.
you've got the drivetrain to worry about.
Okay.
I wouldn't want to keep it in the fire service for many more
No,
years.
right.
Right.
But, you know, if you could repurpose it, you know, to a different
Parks and
department.
Rec, something like
Exactly.
that, yeah.
It could be repurposed internally very easily.
Okay.
So is this vehicle on a replacement schedule as of now?
It's due to be, go to bonding very shortly, right, Ron?
It's on the capital plan.
And for,
It was approved. It was just approved in capital. So we could,
next
Yeah.
year,
yes.
okay.
It's
Yeah.
a worthy investment. It's worth putting $14,000 into something that has no value right now to make it a usable vehicle again.
But when you're buying these vehicles are $70,000 to $90,000, so 14 grand is a small price to pay to keep a useful vehicle in one of the
Absolutely.
departments. You know, that maybe doesn't use it as rigorously as you do.
I think that'll be a decision whether we keep it, trade it in.
Sell
At the
it,
time,
yeah,
yeah.
we could,
Yeah.
if we're replacing it, we could turn around and put it on the market and see what we can get for it
We,
too.
we could,
Or we could deploy it someplace else in
or
town.
maybe
if somebody-
DPW has a use for it, or
And who manages that, Chris? With
Chris.
Darren? Yeah, okay. Okay. Catherine or anyone on the phone? I heard talking. I didn't know if you had a question.
Oh, no,
Good
the
question.
cleaning lady's at work. So
Oh, okay. Okay,
I was giving
And-
her the trash can.
okay.
And just to comment on that, Becky, I know we are in the near future gonna start looking at a vehicle replacement plan. I know that was something that you were significantly concerned about.
Yeah,
So we'll have those conversations. We know vehicles are used at different rates and we don't have a big fleet, but I think your idea of just having an idea on some of these vehicles when they should be replaced, I think is not. Unfortunately, it's gonna be a loose plan. If we have a situation of a blown motor, that changes
Exactly.
things. If we have a
It's fluid.
situation of less miles, you know, we have a replacement plan, we visit that vehicle and say, where are we? This vehicle's still good, and then we don't have to replace it, but at least.
absolutely.
There was some work done. Now I've lost track of time, but a number of years ago that pulled together a list of all of the vehicles that we had. And it
I
had,
think
it
that
had-
lives in DPW, yeah.
Yeah.
is that where it is? Okay,
Yeah.
because, yeah, we had all the serial number, you know, all the VIN numbers, we had all the
Yeah, no, he has all
manufacturer
that.
dates and all of that. And so some of that, if it wasn't allowed to atrophy, we had. For the
I'm
same
sure that
stuff.
that's an easy list to be generated through the assessor's office. All the cars registered to the town, all the fire departments.
Yeah.
That's a
Yeah.
fact.
Yeah. Okay,
All right, so Catherine Stoffer,
I,
Steve Kirsch,
aye,
Nick Sentimentes. Nick, you still there? Maybe. Sam Spino,
Aye.
Mark O'Donnell,
Aye.
Rebecca O'Donnell, me. Okay, so Nick, are you still there?
Yes, I'm here.
Okay, are you, do
Aye.
you, are you in the positive for the 14,000?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Okay, so the next one is the annual fraud inquiry from the town auditors. So we did this last year. I don't know if
mhm,
you all remember, but if you could fill that out and submit. I think her email,
I think she sent it electronically to, I think I was copied on it. Do you want me, did
yeah,
you?
can you send this?
do you want the email?
Yeah,
I
do
can
you-
forward it.
Do you want to forward it? or-
Sure.
Okay,
All right, so I'll send you the email electronically after this meeting so that everyone can respond. Cause they can do that.
Well, yeah, the cover letter says who to respond to via email.
Yeah,
So if we've got this printed in front of us or we print it from our own copy, then it's just a question of scanning it back in.
yeah, it's just
Send me.
email it to Kate. Okay,
So we should all have this in our board pack.
all right, so I'll send you the electronic version.
Okay.
Just to make it easy.
and Catherine Patton was the audit partner
Yeah,
in charge of it.
Okay.
okay, so for timing, and I think she put a due date on there. Did she put a due date on there? No, I don't see one.
It
But I would
might
say-
have been on her email.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
Should we set a due date if it's not on the email? Do you have the email?
I could go back to my desk and look it up quick.
Just see if she has a due date, otherwise I just wanna create one, schedule one for everybody.
Did you,
See you later. All right, I'm gonna move to another meeting, if you don't mind. Thank you.
Have a good evening,
Okay,
everyone.
thank you.
Thank you.
Night.
Night.
If she doesn't specify a due date, is everyone good getting it in by May 30th, Friday, May 30th?
Sure.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
Sure.
Perfect. Thank you. Just wait for confirmation.
There's no due date.
No
on it,
due date.
so
Okay, so we're gonna just, we just discussed having May 30th, Friday, May 30th.
I was gonna say, if you got it back to them by the end of the month.
By the end of
that
the
would
month,
be-
yeah.
I think that's fine, because they're coming in actually to do some preliminary work next week, I believe.
Okay, all
So I think that's fine.
right, perfect. Okay, so then the final one was the allocation of the funds for the pickleball court.
So tell me where we're taking it from.
So this is, this is the first I heard of it.
Yeah.
You guys, so
Yeah, we're doing this on the
I
fly.
guess I would like some flexibility, I guess, I would wanna spend some time looking at the program fund just to ensure there's money in there
Okay,
available. That would be, I guess, the first place we'd look to take it from. The second place, which, Frank, you were on the Parks and Rec Commission?
Yeah.
So the Field Assessment Fund, I'm looking at the policy which we just used to
to do the water, yeah.
do the water. So it's to ensure Wolf Park Fields keep the high standards they are historically met, provide for their orderly improvements, additions, plus to plan to construct additional playing fields. The construction is current, so whether the funds in that account can be used for this purpose, I'm not 100% sure. They aren't, it's
They're not
not
a field.
fields, but it's playing surface at the park, which I think was probably the intent, but I don't know.
That I couldn't tell you.
Yeah,
I don't think we use it for tennis courts.
we did not use this for tennis courts.
So
Okay.
to me,
The third place,
Is our
if
contingent.
we strike out on both of those for whatever reason, would be the emergency, the capital reserve, emergency, repair, is it emergency repairs?
yes,
The,
Capital Reserve Fund.
Capital
Capital Reserve
yeah,
Fund emergency repairs.
emergency repairs, so obviously this is a repair of a playing surface.
So would you
And I
object if I limited it to the two program, the Parks and Rec
Program
program?
first, if it's available, and if
And then
not,
if not, the capital reserve?
yes.
Yeah.
Are you guys okay with that?
Mhm.
Okay.
Okay, and we're going to make, so that's going to be what, your finance department's choice?
Yeah, I think I mean, unless you want to have a special meeting, I don't know if.
No, I'd like to figure out if I could structure a motion. that
Okay.
Would get, I mean, I'm okay. No,
Yeah, I
mean,
think what I would do is I would certainly, Heidi would let's be honest, Heidi would do the analysis, I would review it with her. And then we would go and let Terry know,
Where it's coming from.
where it's coming from. And Missy at that point.
And subject, and it has to be subject to the Parks and Rec Commission.
Yes, it sounds like they're gonna be voting on the use from the program fund, and I would just want to
For
verify that
whichever fund,
the
yeah.
funds are available.
So basically, you're directing it from the program fund, should the funds be available.
Yeah,
Otherwise, whatever is shortfall would come out of the emergency fund.
Right.
correct. The capital reserve emergency repairs. Well stated, Frank.
Can you do a funding source to be determined in the motion and make it contingent upon the Parks and Rec Commission?
Yes,
Approval?
well,
Yeah,
yes. Anytime we've done something like this, if another body has to approve it, we can make a condition. Sometimes it's conditioned upon the town council.
Right,
You know,
no, but I'm
voting
talking about
after-
the funding source, where the money's coming from.
So
Right.
I think make it contingent upon their approval and availability of
Those
funds.
funds.
I think if not, then
Because that's general, that's not funding it from. Right,
well, we're gonna list the two accounts, right? We're gonna be specific in that regard.
I think it should come from one or the other,
Yeah.
preferably the program fund, right?
Mhm. Steve, you got that?
Yeah, I'm trying to figure out how to, give me a second. Steve Kirsch, I'll make a motion. Let's see if I can do this. Resolved. Pursuant to the request by Ms. Theoros, Director of Parks and Recreation, the Board of Finance does hereby approve the expenditure of $42,500 for repair of the pickleball courts. The funds to be taken from either the Park and Recreation Program Fund or the Capital Reserve Fund Emergency Repairs. Such determination to be made by the Director and Assistant Director of Finance. And this expenditure must be approved by the Parks and Recreation Commission at their next meeting.
Second.
Any discussion? Hearing none. All right, Catherine Stoffer,
Aye.
Steve Kirsch,
Aye.
Nick Sentimentis,
aye,
Sam Spino,
Aye.
Mark O'Donnell.
Aye.
All right, that passes unanimous. That's it. Motion to adjourn.
Steve Kirsch, so moved.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank
Good
you.
night,
Have a good
everyone.
night.
Thanks.
Good
You
night.
too.
thank you.